If you're watching this video, there's a good chance you also watch video game reviews. And if that's the case, I'd like to ask you a very simple question. Why? Not in a confrontational or accusatory way, of course, but I ask why in an attempt to prompt some level of self-reflection or analysis to an extent. Why is it that you seek out reviews? How do you decide what reviews to watch? How many reviews do you watch for one game? And what do you hope to gain by watching reviews? There are a lot of possible answers to each of those questions, plenty of potential reasons, and I'm sure there's never just one that covers all scenarios. At least that's how it is for me. I also hope you have a better relationship with reviews than I've had, because I often think much harder than I probably should about their purpose and the concept as a whole. For any given game, there could be any number of reasons I'm looking up reviews, and any number of types of reviews I look for, and subsequently end up sinking hours and hours of my life away watching. The same goes for as to why I may intentionally avoid watching reviews. Sometimes I watch them just for entertainment, sometimes to learn about a game that I've never even heard of before, and sometimes it's for a game I know I'm never going to play, and it's to vicariously experience it on some level. And other times it's to help me decide whether or not to buy or play a game, which is probably the most common reason, and I imagine that is applicable for most people. With all the different reasons, there are also different things I'm looking for within them. Sometimes I'm looking for performance on certain hardware. How does it run on Steam Deck compared to Switch, compared to Xbox, compared to PlayStation? Sometimes just a certain person's opinion. And other times I want someone's best attempt at objectivity, full-on critical analysis, leaving no stone left unturned. Not only do we have all these different forms of review, but surrounding it is the unfortunate reality that we live in an age of extremes and an era of clickbait, where reactions are often worth more than reason. Whether or not a review itself provides a unique or nuanced perspective, the reaction to any said review can push it to one extreme or the other, misrepresenting and misquoting, and turning the online discourse and overall perspective of the game in question into a debate of it's an absolute must-play versus avoid at all costs. Rarely is the discourse surrounding games an acceptance that something is just decent, because no one wants to hear about something that's just alright, when the alternative is hearing about how something is so deeply moving, profound, and impactful that it can change your life for the better or worse. Which would you rather hear? For a long time, multiple years admittedly, I was in this mindset of watching only long-form critical analysis that was focused on objective and factual review. At least that's how it was advertised. And not just watching to learn, but watching and attentively listening in order to challenge the claims of the reviewer. I was pulling apart sentences, fact-checking, doing my own research, and all for no gain, or no measurable impact on anything or anyone, including myself. Maybe I got better at doing research and became better at analysis in my own way, but by the end of those years on that critical fix, I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied with the content I was consuming or how I was responding to it. I wasn't enjoying my time looking up games anymore, and I wasn't entirely enjoying playing games either, because I felt like I was constantly in a state of analysis. I couldn't step away from the role of the critic. I felt like I was forcing myself to watch videos and test the understanding of the reviewers instead of just experiencing the review for what it was, similar to playing games, in which I wasn't just playing a game and enjoying it for what it was, but instead, I was playing and pulling apart mechanics, design philosophy, and level layouts. I made myself feel guilty for watching reviews and playing games that I enjoyed or that were just entertaining, because it didn't provide measurables or statistics, or it didn't have enough factual or testable statements that I could look into and challenge, or because I was so focused on those things in a game that I couldn't just experience it and let myself get immersed. I forced myself into this perspective through which I would object phrases like, "in my opinion," or "the funnest part," or "I liked it," because they weren't objective. I turned myself against subjectivity, tricking myself into believing that it wasn't valuable. To be more specific, I was watching, almost exclusively for a good while, videos and streams by the YouTuber Mauler. And to be clear, he was and still is one of my favorite content creators, so I'm not mentioning him by name to specifically speak against him or anything. I'm not trying to call him out. But I feel it valuable to specify that his videos were the context with which I narrowed my view according to. That was kind of the template. I will, however, add that I believe his stance on objectivity is misguided, or at the very least limited and not entirely accurate. Though I will say I don't think I've seen any attempts at objectivity in video games that have been more effective than his. At the very least, more thorough, at least in the vacuum that is one's own experience, as there is much context left out in his videos that I believe to be very important when attempting to speak objectively. I'd be happy to go into more detail, but I don't think this video is the place for it. So if you are also a fan of Mahler, let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear more, and I'd be more than happy to elaborate in a separate video. Getting back on topic, now that I've emerged from the bubble that is that limited and admittedly self-imposed forced perspective, I've realized the importance of all forms of review, including attempts at objectivity, however successful or not, and subjectivity, and eventually landing on this idea that ultimately you should focus on one thing above all else, no matter the subject of the review. And I'll specify that this is in the context of watching reviews exclusively, not an all-encompassing statement on how to live your life or anything like that. But what I believe you should focus on more than anything else is yourself. People almost invariably arrive at their beliefs not on the basis of proof, but on the basis of what they find attractive, which is a wonderful quote by philosopher Blaise Pascal. To expand, for some people, what is measurable and statistically provable may be the most valuable, while for others, a statement like, "It's fun" and "looks cool" may mean worlds more depending on who it's coming from. Experience is inherently subjective, and there's no escaping that. So instead of trying to argue that one type of review is better or worse than another, instead, why not just find the types of reviews that align with what you're looking for and simply let the rest be? To return to some of the questions from the beginning, what type of review do you want to watch in that given moment? What are you seeking to gain from a review? What matters to you about this game, or what is important surrounding this game that you want more information on? Emphasis on the word "you." The question will be different for almost every game in every instance, as will the answers. Maybe you start watching a review hoping to find statistics on performance, but the review you end up watching is nothing but joke after joke, and has you laughing until your face hurts, and ends up being significantly more valuable to you, albeit in a completely different and unintended way, but still something that you wanted or needed, and if neither, at least something you still enjoyed and found satisfaction in. Now, before moving on, I will add that accurate representation is still very important, as misrepresentation is, to put it simply, bad, especially when done so to intentionally mislead. And I say that knowing that I've made errors in some of my previous videos too. So I'm not saying that as if to claim I'm immune to mistakes. Anyways, as an example, if I was reviewing Dark Souls and told you that it was developed by Ubisoft, and that you assume the role of John Darksoul, who was played by Chris Pratt, and it was released as an Xbox 720 exclusive, that would be, well, a lot of things, and none of them good, unless it was all for laughs like it is right now, and the intention was clear. The ultimate point being, just enjoy the content, have fun, and let other people have fun with their content. Yes, people make mistakes. We are all human after all. We're all imperfect, fallible mortal beings who are constantly making errors and are inherently flawed. It's in our nature. It's good and important to point out errors and areas for improvement as constructive criticism, but that doesn't mean we need to be pointing out every single semblance of a mistake in every review and tearing content or the creators apart down to every breath between phases that they failed to edit out. What I'm really trying to get at with all this rambling and hopefully organized enough nonsense is that all reviews serve a different purpose. All content serves a purpose for someone. Just because you may not like one form factor or intention with one piece of content doesn't mean it's definitively wrong or bad. Mistakes happen, and that's all right, it's normal. But at the end of the day, we're all just watching YouTube videos and looking for something to enjoy for a little while. And really, it's not that big of a deal. At least it shouldn't be. Maybe you don't like review scores and have no idea what a 7 out of 10 is supposed to mean. I don't know either. Maybe when a reviewer says, "I only played 2 hours, but I just know that it gets better," is a huge red flag for you. I know it would be for me. Or maybe the statement, "It's a really fun game," is a completely empty and meaningless assortment of words to you. All that means is that those reviews aren't for you. That's it. The best review is the one that does what you need it to in whatever moment you're in. One day you could be looking up one game for something very specific, and maybe another day you could be looking up the same game for a completely different reason, and find a completely different type of review, but get the same amount of value from each. The same goes for reviewers too. You may have a go-to channel for game reviews that you rely on and agree with wholeheartedly on every take they have, but at some point, you will disagree with them. And when that happens, you'll either have to find another video by another reviewer who you do agree with, or you'll accept those points that you disagree with and use them to further develop your stance on the game that you're looking up. Maybe you don't care whether or not you agree, and you just find them entertaining. It all depends on what you're looking for at that exact moment in time. Reviews are an incredible medium and form of content creation that thousands and thousands of people find value in, all for their own reasons and in their own way. And honestly, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm very lucky and happy to be able to be a part of it and experience it, even if in just a very small way, the very small way that I do. And with that, I hope you found some enjoyment or at least something interesting amongst my ramblings. And if you made it this far, first off, I appreciate you, thank you. And second, let me know in the comments what types of reviews you like most. And lastly, and as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and I hope to see you next time.